Now, the closing ceremony at this year's World Economic Forum on Africa in Kigali, Rwanda, is underway. The event, which began on Wednesday, was conducted under the theme Connecting Africa's Resources Through Digital Transformation. The focus at the event this time round was on how to diversify economies, tackle inequality and strengthen collaboration among countries. Now, let's get to the latest from there. We're joined live by CCTV's Rama Nyang, who is standing by there for us. Rama, we understand that the closing ceremony is set to get underway shortly. Just talk us through the highlights of this year's conference.
Indeed, Lindy. As far as the closing ceremony is concerned, it's not about to take place shortly. You probably can see it right behind me. It's actually just about started in the last 15 minutes or so. We've been focusing here over the last couple of days on a range of issues. How do we move on into the fourth industrial revolution? There's been a question mark around whether or not Africa is actually well positioned to do that in the first place, given the yawning deficits that we do see in education, in healthcare, in the skills available in the labor force right across sub-Saharan Africa. Hard infrastructure, roads, rail, for example, are a key concern, as is energy, and how to essentially bring all of these together instead of looking at them in isolation in order to really get to that fourth industrial revolution that we keep hearing so much about. That's been a key topic over here. It's easy enough, however, to talk about these things. The hard business of actually getting down to work, crafting the policies and executing them at a government level, that's when the really hard work begins. And it is hoped at this point in time that perhaps we might see some of the ideas being bandied about in conversations here at WEF in Kigali actually get into the ground within the next couple of months.
And on that note, Rama, has there been some significant or rather concrete commitments from various countries? Any pronouncements on that in that regard over the past few days?
Some interesting pronouncements. I'll refer to, of course, to the just come out of the press conference we're in just before we came live on the air. Press conference with the South African Deputy President and a few other ministers as well. The Minister of the Presidency, Jeff Radebe, was there talking about, for example, the visa policies, making it easier for Africans to move around the continent. South Africa has come under a lot of flack from other countries in Eastern and Southern Africa for its heavily restrictive policies. Now, the Deputy President kept saying we're working on these measures, but there were no concrete timelines on whether or not those will actually be put in place and what sort of timeframes are looking at for actually implementing those policies moving forward. Energy, of course, is another key concern to underpin and undergird all these conversations about the fourth industrial revolution. Grand Inga has come up as a topic, as it often does at these sort of events. Back in 2013, when we covered the African Economic Conference right in Kigali, it came up. Same year, the African Development Bank's annual meeting, Grand Inga came up yet again. Here we are 3 years later. There's been very little progress on Grand Inga. So one does get the sense that it's very easy for us to sit here, listen to policymakers saying, we're here to learn from Rwanda, we're here to learn from our peers in Africa on how to do certain things and implement specific policy. But when it comes to actually putting those on the ground, the record is a lot less rosy, so to speak. Back to you, Lindy.
I suppose our hope is that this ends up being more than just another talk shop. Rama Nyang at the closing of this year's WEF, live for us there in Kigali.